In this video, we're going to talk about mental toughness, why it is important, why it is one of the most overrated character traits that is being talked about in the martial arts world, and how I believe you could improve your mental toughness, and what are the things that you should actually focus on in order to improve your mental toughness in judo, grappling, MMA, martial arts in general, and also in your life. First of all, I want to define what mental toughness actually is. And I believe that mental toughness, I define that as the ability to endure pain and fatigue in order to accomplish a goal. And in this case, I want to cite some examples of what I believe mental toughness are, not only in the martial arts world, but also, let's say, in the common, let's say, culture, people that we define as mentally tough. Well, first of all, David Goggins is very famous, someone who is really become really famous for his mental toughness, and he's an ultramarathoner, someone who runs ultramarathon. He's not really someone who does a lot of, you've seen, not someone who does a lot of fighting, but he's well known for being able to withstand incredible amounts of pain and fatigue in order to win competitions. So he's able to withstand all of that in order to accomplish a certain goal. Travis Stevens is another example from the judo world, which is someone who experienced a lot of very hard weight cuts. He's told in an interview, I believe it was with, I don't remember the guy's name. I don't remember the name of the podcaster, but he said in an interview that he used to cut around 10 kilos in order to get into the under 81 weight class. And he also experienced a lot of surgical interventions, and he experienced a lot of very bad injuries during all of his career, and he was still able to keep going and withstand all of that. A third example that come to my mind from the MMA world was Yuri Prohaska, which is a guy that I believe is a little crazy, but he in different of his fights, he experienced a lot of heavy bad injuries. He was also knocked out, I believe, in a fight. I don't remember exactly what it is, but he came back from this knockout and was able to win the fight. So there are a lot of many other examples of what mental toughness actually is, but I decided to cite all only these three because they were the first that came to my mind, and because I thought they were very they give a very good example of what I believe mental toughness actually is. But mental toughness is important, but um, it's not about just one thing. It's not about being mentally strong. It's the result of being mentally tough is the result of having different character traits, different physical qualities dialed in into your body. And I want to tell you my story about mental toughness. My story, what helped me understand that mental toughness is not really everything. This is my photo from February of 2023. I came back from home after losing the first match at the Nationals. I was able to qualify for Judo Nationals, and I lost the first match. This was one of the worst periods of my life because I was heavily burnt out. I was heavily fatigued because I trained kinda every day, either doing judo or either doing weights, and I wasn't training in an optimal way. I wasn't training by looking at all of the crap that I talk in this channel. So I wasn't looking at volume. I wasn't looking at high low method. I wasn't looking at all of that crap. I was just grinding hard every day in hope to get better. I was also doing internships for becoming a physical therapist. So during the day, I was doing internships that lasted 5 to 8 hours. I was studying for finishing my last exams in uni. I was at the same time writing my thesis, all of this while cutting weight to 66 kilos. So it was very hard for me. And during this period, I wasn't able to train that much good. I felt very bad, also mentally speaking. My mental health wasn't really good because all of the hard weight cuts that I was experiencing. And after losing the first match at the Nationals, I remember that I asked my coach, "Hey, Can you tell me what am I doing wrong? What is the thing that I should change in my training? What is the thing that I should focus more on my training? And he told me, "Oh, you gotta be just mentally tough. You gotta want it more." And I was like, really? Is that really my problem? Not something technical that I can improve, not something tactical, not how I manage all my fight, not about how I train in how I perform my strength and conditioning. Just the thing that you want me to improve is wanting it more, being more mentally tougher. This is what he told me, by the way, when we were coming back from Rome. It was in nationals in Rome. He told me on the way back, "Oh, you gotta be more mentally tough." And I thought, man, honestly, after after weight cutting, after all the crap that I'm doing and still training every day as hard as I possibly could, after putting my sweat, blood, and tears in order to improve in my sport, you're still, after doing all of the crap that you see right here, you're telling me that I should want that more. And then in that moment, I understood that mental toughness is not everything. Mental toughness is just one piece of the puzzle that is really important, but it's not everything. You cannot mentally tough your way out of winning fights. And I can tell you another example, more well known than myself, which is Tony Ferguson. Tony Ferguson in the MMA, who hired David Goggins, okay, in order to win his fight against, I believe, it was I don't remember who his opponent was, but basically Tony Ferguson lost very badly, and his training was only about becoming more mentally tougher. But he didn't improve his striking, he didn't improve his wrestling. He didn't improve his physical qualities well enough in order to become a better fighter. He just killed himself in order to improve his mental toughness. But you're here to improve your mental toughness. This is not everything, but I can tell you that mental toughness is not a quality to improve. Mental toughness is have different components to it. It has a physical component, it has a technical component, it has a tactical component, and it has a psychological component to your mental toughness. Okay, if you work on all of these different uh, pieces, you are going to become mentally tougher, which means you will be able to withstand more fatigue, more pain in order to reach your goal, which would be winning more competitions or becoming a better athlete or judoka. And here I'm telling you all of the stuff because I want you to understand that I misspelled here, but developing mental toughness is different from chasing fatigue and pain. Okay, it's not about training till you're puking out. It's about developing all of these four different components in order to withstand more pain and fatigue. Okay, it's developing mental toughness is very different from chasing pain and fatigue, which I you have to a certain extent chasing pain and fatigue because it will help you to experience that before going into competition. It's okay to sometime exposing yourself to higher level of fatigue and pain, but not doing this every day because you're going to burn yourself out. So different factors that can influence mental toughness, as I said before, there is conditioning. So, the more conditioned you are, the less fatigue you will perceive and the less mental power you need to exert. So, what I want to tell you here, as I said before, mental toughness is about withstanding fatigue and pain in order to reach a goal. But the later you're going to experience heavy fatigue, the better it is. And if you work on your aerobic conditioning, if you work on your anaerobic conditioning, you will experience less fatigue. And the less fatigue you will experience, the less you have to rely on your willpower in order to go to the end of the match or in order to go to the end of your training session. All right, you get what I mean. So before even thinking about, oh, I need to become mentally tougher, think about becoming more conditioned on aerobic level. And I'm not telling you to go out there and doing David Goggins run. I'm telling you to do some 30 minutes, 30 to 45 minute zone 2 cardio and improve your aerobic capacity. You will see after just 1 month of doing, let's say, 60 to 90 minutes a week of zone 2 cardio, you will see great improvements in your performance. I can tell you because I saw that on myself. Just adding some cardio, light cardio, it doesn't have to be very hard. You will experience much less fatigue on your day to day life, not also in your training, your day to day life. You will recover better from one training to another. You will be able to train more. So, before even thinking, oh, I need to become more mentally tougher, become more aerobic condition, become more conditioned on aerobic level. Okay. And remember that willpower, when you start to becoming fatigued because your heart is not working properly, your lungs are not working properly, you have to rely on willpower. But willpower is a finite resource. There are a lot of studies that watched that willpower, and they saw that willpower is something that it's drained into your body. It isn't something that you can rely on forever. Okay, so the later you have to use your willpower, the better it is. It's like, if you ever played video games, it's like a bar. Imagine a bar that you have here that gets drained while you're using that, and when you're up to zero, you give up. You will give up eventually. Maybe later, maybe sooner, maybe later, but you will give up. So the later you're going to use your willpower, the better it is. By the way, if you find out that this video is useful, if you think that these informations are useful for you, you can have a one-on-one consultation with me when we can talk about your training, your strength and conditioning, your pains, because I'm also a physical therapist. I can teach you and give you some advice about pain management and how to deal with different kind of pain for grappling, or if you're a lifter, for lifting, whatever sport you're practicing. I can help you, one-on-one consultation. You can write me an email, you can write me a DM. You have all the information in the description. It's free. I don't want any money from you. I just want to help. So stop with advertising. Let's go to the next section of the video, which is automation. You have to have some automized techniques. Why? As I told you before, willpower is a finite resource. You cannot rely on it forever. And if your brain is occupied with thinking about which technique to do, and also thinking about resisting fatigue and resisting pain, you will do bad, both of them. Okay, because you have more stuff that you have to think about. So do uchikomi and drilling. Drill your techniques until your main throws become a second nature to you. You don't have to think about performing the throw. You just will come automatic. You don't have to think about it. If you can automate your techniques, you will have more mental energy to endure pain and fatigue, because you don't have to think about, oh, what do I need to do? Where should I place my hands? Should I grab the sleeve or should I grab the lapel? Should I grab like this or should I grab like that? Should I do this technique or should I do that technique? So if you don't have to think about all of this stuff, your mind is more free. And since your mind is more free, you can actually think about, oh, I gotta endure all of this pain. I gotta endure all of this fatigue that I'm perceiving. All right. This will make you appear as more mentally tougher. As you can see, there are a lot of different factors that make you more able to endure pain and fatigue during a match. So automation is very important. You gotta have 2 to 3 techniques that you must be able to perform like a second nature to you. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to think about how to set it up. It just comes automatic to you when the situation arrives. So automation, doing uchikomi and drilling, it's very important. The third thing is to train consistently and occasionally push yourself. So I told you before that where this is, developing mental toughness is different from chasing pain and fatigue, because chasing pain and fatigue is a very reductionist way to look at developing mental toughness. But occasionally pushing yourself, occasionally chasing fatigue is something that you need to do in order to develop the ability to mentally withstand pain. As you can see in this image, the highlighted here the anterior cingulate cortex, which is a region of your brain that is associated with willpower and mental toughness, let's say, quote unquote, mental toughness. The more you push yourself, the more you put yourself in uncomfortable situation. For example, when you're doing a heavy nagekomi, when your legs are burning, when you lack breath, and you're sipping for air, but you still keep going, your anterior cingulate cortex will become bigger. It's like a muscle that you um, it's like a muscle that you train. Your anterior cingulate cortex, or ACC, becomes bigger, and you are able to withstand more pain and fatigue. So occasionally pushing yourself is very good for developing the ability to keep pushing despite all of the pain and all of the fatigue. But remember that what is more important is to train consistently, because the more you train consistently, the more you will improve your anterior cingulate cortex. But not only your ACC, you will improve your automation, the automation of your technique. The more consistently you train, the more you will acquire skills, and the more conditioned you will be if you train consistently. So consistency is extremely important, and occasionally push yourself, occasionally chase fatigue, occasionally go to the point when you feel like you're puking you want to puke out what you eaten before. But don't do it every day, because first of all, it will burn you out, and second, it's not that much useful to develop mental toughness. As I said, I want to repeat that it's of different factors. So I told you about conditioning, I told you about automation, I told you about training consistently and occasionally pushing yourself, and I want to finish it up with something a little bit more philosophical, which is have a why strong enough. What do I mean about that? Why are you training? This is the question that I want to give it to you. Why are you training? Why are you doing judo? Why are you doing Brazilian Jiu Jitsu? Why are you doing wrestling, MMA, whatever you're doing? Why? What is the reason behind your training? What is the reason behind working so fucking hard? Because these are hard sports, guys. These are very hard sports. And you are not going to push yourself. You're not going to suck all of, you're not going to be willing to experience all the pain, fatigue, and suck that comes with practicing the sport if you don't have a why strong enough. Personally, my why is that I felt always weak as a kid. When I was a kid, I was fat, I was weak, and no one really liked me. No one really liked me. And I found in judo, I found in martial arts, physical training, I found a way in order to improve myself. I found a way to cultivate the strength and the character traits that I needed to develop in order to become a strong person. And I'm not there yet. I improved a lot, okay? But I'm not as strong as I would like to be. And this is my why. This is why, after 9 hours of working as a physical therapist, I go and train judo. This is why I still do 2 trainings per day, because I need to cultivate my strength. I need to cultivate my ability to withstand pain, my ability to withstand fatigue, and becoming a better judoka, uh, a better fighter, let's say, and a better person. This is my why. And it doesn't have to be a reason like mine. It could be something very personal to yourself, but have a why strong enough, because as the great Friedrich Nietzsche has said, he who has a why for which to live can bear almost any how. You gotta have a strong reason in order to withstanding all of that pain, all of that fatigue that comes with doing judo, wrestling, and other martial arts. So sit with yourself for like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and ask yourself, why are you training? And I know it might sound useless, but I can tell you, if you really understand why you're doing what you're doing, won't be a waste of time. You will actually thank me for doing that. By the way, the video is over. I hope that this was useful, and I hope that you found some insights that you can actually apply to your personal life and training. And if you, as I said before, if you need a personal consultation, if you would like to talk to me one on one, if you want to have a more personalized advice, you can DM me, you can send me an email, or book a one on one call in the description. Thank you for watching, and remember to aim upward as always.